Tomorrow is the big event here in Oxford.
Are you ready? Up next, NewsWatch reporter Grayson Ashmore sat down with the co-director to bring you all the details.
Good evening and thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Brittany Brown.
And I'm Matthew Henley.
Ole Miss students will head out tomorrow morning all over Oxford to do service for the community.
NewsWatch correspondent Grayson Ashmore is in studio with big event co-director Savannah Smith with more information. Grayson?
Thanks, guys. I'm currently in studio with the director of the big event, Savannah Smith. Savannah, thank you for being here today. Can you just tell me a little bit about what the big event is?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And the big event is the largest day of community service in the state of Mississippi. It is a really big day where students in the university community get to go out and do community service projects for the citizens of the Oxford and Lafayette community.
So how many projects will y'all be working on tomorrow?
So we have in between 250 and 200, so I don't know the exact number off the top of my head right now because it kind of fluctuates, but around that, so we're really excited.
So kind of what do y'all do in these projects, like when you go out to different areas?
Well, it really just depends. I mean, some people will be raking leaves, some people will be helping, repair different things in people's houses. Some people will be cleaning up places, like I know that we're going to Plein Air is one example, and just in different community centers around the town, and just it's a really cool way for them to really interact one-on-one with different places in the community.
So what is a benefit of being a part of this big event that's taking place?
I mean, I think it's just really special that students get to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves. They get to interact and meet different people within the university community, as well as people that live in Oxford that let us take their parking spaces all year, that let us eat in their restaurants, and that welcome us with such open arms throughout the year. And I think that that's really special, and it's just a really cool way that we get to really show our appreciation for the community and a really special day.
So if you haven't yet signed up to be a part of the big event, is there any way you can still be involved?
Yes, you can walk in on the day of, and anytime between 8 and 8:30. We would like you to be there by around 8:30 because every volunteer starts to come around 8, but walk-in volunteers are more than welcome. So if you wake up Saturday morning and want to be a part of something that's really cool for a few hours, come on over.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Savannah. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Grayson. Oxford will be hosting its own March for Our Lives rally tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon at City Hall. The march was originally planned to be in Washington, but gained local interest after students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School announced their participation. There will be more than 800 marches across the country, 8 of them right here in Mississippi. Students and parents at Oxford High School are taking the lead in the march and want to show Oxford's intolerance of gun violence. NewsWatch reporter DeAndrea Turner will have a recap of tomorrow's march on Monday's show. A Hattiesburg man was convicted of human trafficking in Oxford. According to the testimony at yesterday's trial, Ray Morris Asensio picked up a 16-year-old girl in February 2017 while she was walking along a highway. The victim was reported as a runaway from Waveland. Asensio and the victim were at an Oxford nail salon when a woman became suspicious and called the police.
An Oxford man was wounded yesterday after being accidentally shot by a 13-year-old. The juvenile was playing with a double-barrel 20-gauge shotgun inside the house when it was accidentally fired, hitting a 66-year-old man sitting outside in the head. And the victim was transported to Baptist Memorial Hospital in North Mississippi with what appeared to be non-life-threatening injuries. The Lafayette County Sheriff's Department says the shooting appeared accidental and that no charges were being filed at this time. Well, if you don't know what aquaponics is, chances are you may find out in the near future. A company named Stewart Farms Fresh plans to open the first aquaponic farming operation in the state of Mississippi. Now, the farming method is self-sufficient as water and fish waste from fish tanks feed the plants, and the plants filter the water to keep the fish healthy. The operation will feature 3 glass greenhouses on 8 acres of land, as well as a farmer's market. The farm could be up and running as early as June 2018, depending on the future weather conditions.
And Next Gear, a local software company, held their first water walk yesterday to raise money to build wells in India. Next Gear partnered with the charity India Partners, which works to provide clean drinking water, stop human trafficking, and help children get an education. Next Gear said they reached their goal of $16,000 and will dig 2 wells in 2 Indian villages to help thousands of people. Spring is in the air and the Easter holiday is near. The Easter Bunny will visit Oxford tomorrow at the Oxford Square Alliance Open House. OSA President Mark Hilsey said this is the first time in 8 years the open house will be in the afternoon to avoid chilly morning weather. The Easter Bunny will be available for free photos with families and children. The Bunny will be back next Saturday on March 31st for the annual community Easter egg hunt at FNC Park.
Mississippi State Auditor says that a solar plant owes the state $93 million for a failed solar panel. Auditor Stacy Pickering demanded the payment in a letter delivered to Steon Corporation, which closed its Hattiesburg plant last year. The company now has 30 days to repay the state or a civil lawsuit will ensue. Steon is the latest series of failed green energy companies that received loans from the state, causing Mississippi taxpayers to have lost more than $185 million, spanning back to the beginning of former Governor Haley Barbour's tenure.
Summer is almost here, and that means many students are going to be on the lookout for a summer job. Being a lifeguard is an option for students, but one problem is finding out where to get certified.
NewsWatch correspondent Annie Sharp found a quick and easy way that you can get certified on campus.
So as of now, we're offering 3 lifeguard sessions that run for 3 days, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Lifeguard certified can be an important skill to have, and that's why classes are being offered on campus.
Lifeguard job is required to have a lifeguard certification, so to get it here and to have it provided here is pretty cool.
Classes are held in our natatorium here in the Turner Center on the first floor. We do everything in our pool as far as in-water skills, and then we have a classroom portion in the building as well. Between community members, a lot of high schoolers from the community from Lafayette and Oxford come and do the course, and we also have students that attend the course as well.
Daniel Hill, the graduate assistant for aquatics, is eager to share this skill with anyone who wants to come take the classes.
I think because I was looking into getting a lifeguard job over the summer because they pay pretty well, and I feel like if I get a lifeguard certification through here, it's free and I can already have that one step so I don't have to do it at the beginning of summer and pay for it. So,
Annie Sharp, NewsWatch, Ole Miss.
Up next, find out what unlikely animal is wanted for deception.
We will have more on that story, but first, Libby Crocker has your first look at the current conditions.
Thanks, guys. This week we will see warmer temperatures with scattered thunderstorms throughout next week, specifically on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, with high humidity following. Moving forward to our radar image, we do see clear skies here in Oxford. Stay tuned for my extended forecast to learn more about the upcoming rain.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I know, I
was.
heard. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Yes, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Congress avoids a government shutdown for now, passing a bill which gets the government through September. What held up the process and what's starting to annoy some senators? An after-midnight vote sends a $1.3 trillion spending package to the president's desk. The Senate voting 65-32 early this morning.
The result is legislation that neither side sees as perfect, but which contains a host of significant victories and important achievements on behalf of the American people.
The omnibus keeps the government funded through September with more military and domestic spending. Senator Rand Paul, as usual, was one of the last holdouts on the bill, delaying the vote with a procedural move he spent hours Thursday criticizing the way it was made public.
Had they started on Monday, they'd be done. I can't stop anything unless they don't do their job and they wait till Thursday night to present a bill or Friday. So it's really their fault for not being prepared. If they were prepared, they can blow by me in a day.
The repeated instances of late-night votes and tight deadlines when it comes to funding the government are wearing on some senators.
I mean, this is ridiculous. It's juvenile. This is a juvenile process that we go through every time we do one of these.
And with this bill only funding the government through September, there's another funding deadline just over the horizon.
Could we in the future possibly try to resolve these things at a decent hour or come back the next morning and vote?
President Trump signed the bill earlier today after threatening to veto the spending measure due to the legislation not outlining a solution to DACA and sufficient funding for a border wall. And 3 people were killed and 5 wounded in southern France today after a gunman stole a car, fired at police, and took hostages in a supermarket. Authorities are treating this as a terror attack. Police shot the gunman dead after a 4-hour standoff at the supermarket. Police also arrested a woman who was close to the gunman. The attack was claimed by ISIS. A 16-year-old Maryland school shooting victim died last night after being taken off life support. The girl, Jalen Willie, was shot at her high school on Tuesday just before classes began by alleged shooter 17-year-old Austin Rollins. The gunman died later at a hospital after being shot by the school's resource officer.
The city of Atlanta is under extreme caution after a massive cyber attack hit the city today. City workers are asked not to log on to their computers, and Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport has also taken down the Wi-Fi at the world's busiest airport amid the attack. The airport says this may cause wait times and flight information to be inaccurate, advising passengers to check with their airline for more info. There is no estimated time that service will be restored, as the attack is still being apprehended by the FBI and U.S. Homeland Security, according to the airport's spokesman. Well, the flu season may be winding down, but parents of young children have reason to remain watchful. Though influenza A is declining, the U.S. Center for Disease Control says that a second wave of the influenza B strain is expected to arise. Now, generally, influenza A leads to more severe illnesses and hospitalizations than influenza B, but the CDC still recommends flu shots for unvaccinated children, as the B strain tends to be more severe for younger children. Well, the latest addition to the most wanted list has some people raising their eyebrows. The Pennsylvania Sheriff's Office put up a wanted poster for none other than Punxsutawney Phil. Phil's prediction of 6 more weeks of winter expired last week, but now the furry rodent is wanted for deception after a spring storm brought more snow to the northeast this week. Now, Phil is described as having brown and gray hair, brown eyes, and sharp teeth. And the Sheriff's Office says anyone with information on the groundhog should notify authorities immediately.
Keep the sunshine coming. I hope the weather lasts all weekend.
I sure hope so, Brittany. But Libby Crocker will let you know if it does. And her extended forecast coming up next on Storm Watch.
fancy pants peanut butter?
A big screen television.
You haven't even brought a sofa yet.
A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Good evening, Rebels. Happy Friday and welcome back to NewsWatch. Our current temperature is a beautiful 71 degrees with winds at 10 miles per hour and no chance of rain. So it's a great day to head outside and enjoy the beautiful spring weather. Moving forward to our satellite image, we do see a bit of cloud coverage moving through Oxford. Our current temperatures in the surrounding areas are in the upper 60s to lower 70s, 69 in South Haven, 66 in Corinth, 71 here in Oxford, 72 in Holly Springs, and 73 in Tupelo. Tomorrow's temperatures in the surrounding areas are around the same in the upper 60s to lower 70s, 67 in Holly Springs, 68 in South Haven and Oxford and Corinth, and 72 in Tupelo. Tonight's forecast is 60 degrees, winds at 5 miles per hour, and no chance of rain. So if you do have outdoor plans tonight, the weather should be very nice. Tomorrow's forecast is 68 degrees with 10 to 20 miles per hour winds and a 40% chance of rain. So if you are planning on going to the big event, make sure to grab a raincoat or umbrella before you head out. Moving forward to our 5-day forecast, we see the temperatures in the upper 50s to upper 60s with the warmest at 69 on Tuesday and Wednesday and an 80% chance of rain on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Libby. There's breaking news out of the Ole Miss basketball program about key departures. See who they are.
And the first 4 games of the March Madness Sweet 16 were wild yesterday. See how your bracket's doing and if it's still standing up next.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I bought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Welcome to Sports Watch. I'm Maddie Bierster. A lot going on in Ole Miss basketball with coaches and players coming and going. First to leave Ole Miss is junior standout Terrence Davis, as he's declared for the NBA draft as of today. Davis averages 13.8 points per game with 6.2 rebounds. He shot for 40.7% from the floor and 31.7% from the three. Keep in mind, Davis did not sign with an agent, therefore allowing him to return to Ole Miss if he does not get signed with the team. Davis says this is a dream come true and he believes he is an NBA player and he can play at the next level. The Rebels then granted their 3-star commit for next year, Sorrell Smith, his request to release today. Sorrell has released a statement saying he wants to keep his options open to other schools, but that Ole Miss is not off the table for him. Switching to the Diamond, the baseball team rallied for a 5-4 win over number 11 Texas A&M last night. With 8 hits from Ole Miss and A&M with 10, the Rebels only had 2 errors and 1 more than A&M. Standout pitchers Etheridge and Karasi combined for 11 strikeouts in the final 5 innings to seal that win, improving now to 21-2 and 3-1 in Southeastern Conference play. The Rebels will look to nail a 6th straight weekend series win. The Rebels and Aggies will meet again tonight at 6 p.m. and close on Saturday at 2. Tune in to SEC Network to cheer on your Rebels. More for the Rebels, the softball team hits the road this weekend to play number 16, Alabama. Alabama does lead the series 58-5, but the Rebels are hoping to bounce back from a 9-3 road defeat at Memphis on Tuesday. The Crimson Tide might be without their star pitcher Alexis Osorio this weekend after being struck in her last outing. Keep an eye out for senior standout Paige McKinney, whose power numbers have skyrocketed this season already, tallying 3 extra baggers with 2 doubles and a triple, as well as Kaylee Horton, who recorded a base knock in 14 of her last 28 times at bat. Her batting average surpasses a team high of .3690, while also playing multiple positions in different spots in that lineup. Tonight's game will be at 6:30, Saturday at 2 p.m., and Sunday at 1:30, and will be aired on SEC Network. Quick recap for those following the March Madness Sweet 16. Get ready for more upsets on your brackets. Loyola took on Nevada last night and took the game by 1 point, 68-69, with both teams scoring points in the last 8 seconds of the game. Huge celebration for these guys. Next, Sister Jean and the Ramblers will take on Kansas State. Now for the western region of the bracket, predictable win by number 3 seed Michigan against Texas A&M, 99-72. This game wasn't even close in comparison to the Loyola game. Michigan dominated the Aggies and came out victorious in the end. They are now heading to the Elite 8 and we're waiting for the winner of the Florida State and Gonzaga game. Later that night, Kansas State took on John Calipari's Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky has one last chance to tie the game, but in the end, Kansas State was able to pull off the upset 61-58. Next for Kansas State, they'll be taking on Sister Jean's Loyola Chicago. And the final game of the night was Florida State against Gonzaga. The Seminoles were in the lead for most of the game and defeated 4th seed Gonzaga 75-60. Florida State will take on Michigan next in the Elite 8. For tonight's game, Duke will take on Syracuse while Kansas will take on Clemson. And for the East, Purdue will take on Texas Tech, and Villanova will fight to keep that number 1 seed against Alabama. Following a recent tragedy in Sacramento, the police shooting of Stephon Clark after hundreds of outraged protesters rallied outside the Golden One Center, where the Kings were set to play the Hawks, causing a lengthy delay of game. Kings owner Vivek Ranadive addressed the crowd after the Kings defeated the Hawks 105-90.
We recognize that it's not just business as usual, and we are going to work really hard to bring everybody together to make the world a better place, starting with our own community. And we're going to work really hard to prevent this kind of a tragedy from happening again.
The Sacramento Kings said in a statement that people who purchase tickets for Thursday's game directly through the team or Ticketmaster will receive detailed instructions to facilitate a full refund in the coming days. That's all for sports today. Be sure to follow our Twitter at NewsWatch_UM. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Maddie. Coming up, find out which pets got the spotlight in this week's Furry Feature.
Stay tuned. There's more NewsWatch coming up.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Break out those heart eye emojis, Reds, because it's National Puppy Day. Siblings Brandy and Buster are this big and only 3 months old, so they are going to be large dogs. Brandy is on the calmer side, while Buster is all wanting to play. Either of these little ones would provide excellent companionship to your household, depending on whether you have an active or calmer lifestyle. Both pups are currently at the Oxford Shelter location and are up for only adoption at the moment, so go and check them out if you are interested. But if you aren't yet sure about fully committing to either of these furry companions, consider fostering another pet with the shelter. Fostering shelter animals provides necessary socialization needed for adoption. Any grown dog or cat is available to foster as long as they have been fixed beforehand. To either adopt or foster an animal from the Oxford Lafayette Humane Society, visit oxfordpets.com and make sure to check out their Facebook page, Oxford Lafayette Humane Society, and their Instagram page, Oxford Pets. Grayson Ashmore, NewsWatch, Ole Miss.
It's National Puppy Day today, and we asked our audience to send in pictures of their fur babies, and here's a few of our favorites. First up is Madison Amon with her dog Bentley, who likes to dress up for game days here in Oxford.
Next up is Anna Bess Polakovich with her cute little puppy Dixie. Then is a Pike Sweetheart puppy by the name of Annie Bell, submitted by Charles Copeland. And finally is NewsWatch advisor Dr. DuPont's puppy, Sweet Petey Pie. Happy National Puppy Day to everyone.
All these puppies are just making me so excited. I'm glad the weather was a lot warmer today. Just spring is in the air. It just makes me happy.
Sure is, but we got some rain coming up, so
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that, Libby.
Well, beautiful weather today, but sadly there will be rain this weekend.
Well, I guess, April showers bring May flowers, even
Let's
though
hope
it's still
so.
March,
Let's hope
but it's coming up.
Thank you, Libby.
Well, that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. Be sure to catch us here again on air at 5. I'm Brittany Brown.
You can also catch us on our live stream on Facebook at NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Matthew Henley. Thank you and good night.